Hello, everyone. This is your favorite doctor of education. My channel is called Take the Meat, Spit Out the Bones. Now, today's video actually will have a lot of meat, but definitely some bones. It won't be really based on education research. Kind of, it's founded, why I'm doing this video is because of education research and another video I did on why teachers hate teaching. So I'm constantly asked, uh, you know, how did you end up doing all the different things that you've done? Like, how did you get out of being an in classroom teacher? I've done many different things in my career, um, you know, various jobs, never really stayed in one school too long, one grade too long, one state too long, one country too long, right? So there are many things you can do in education if you hate teaching, if you hate being in the classroom, right? And teaching children. There's some people who love it, right? But if you hate it, there are other things you can do in education. So this is just a short list of things you can do. Um, just to give you some ideas, right? These are some solutions. So teachers have great skill set, great skill set. They're organizers, therapists, nurses, all the things that you do as a teacher, you can actually go into another line of work other than education and do it, right? Does take sacrifice. You may have to start over, but life is short. Um, Someone told me, my mother's friend, life is not a dress rehearsal, right? So if you hate doing something every single day, you should probably change that. This is only the life you have to live. So why spend 20, 30, 40, 50 years in something that you hate, right? Oftentimes, if you do hate it, you're not benefiting the kids. So I would rather you live a happy, healthy life doing something you love versus something you hate. So here are some things that you can do. If you want to stay in education, these are all things education based, right? If you want to stay in education, be a principal, be assistant principal, an instructional coach, a counselor, school psychologist, speech pathologist, adaptive phys ed teacher, occupational therapist, physical therapist, a child therapist, a parent advocate. You can be an education lawyer, right? Take all the skill set that you already know and become an education lawyer, right? Also, go into another field, obviously, that doesn't have to do with education, but if you want to stay in education, these are more things. You can be an ABA specialist, applied behavior analysis specialist. You can be an early interventionist where you work in children's homes. Like I think could be like ages 6 down, or even a little bit older. You could just work one-on-one with kids as an early interventionist. You can go into higher education. If you want to do a PhD, I did it. If you want to go into a PhD, you can teach teachers, right? You can be a professor. Leave the country. Ding, ding, ding. Leave your country and become an international educator. Sometimes working in the country you are in, it may not be beneficial. It may be better somewhere else, but you can work in international schools around the world. Um, be a education journalist, so you know a lot of insights about education. Why not do op-ed pieces? Why not work for a newspaper or be on air talent? Start a YouTube channel like I did. Why not, right? There's tons of YouTube channels out there talking about education. Sell your education teaching talents. Sell your lesson plans, your slides. There's teachers pay teachers. Sell things. Make things for education. Make things for kids. Sell it. Work for a not-for-profit that has to do something with education. You can work for an education consulting company, an education research company. Research these things, right, that I'm telling you. Work for curriculum companies. Let me just tell you, the most brilliant thing I have seen was a teacher who was teaching students who were blind. She made the program, the phonics program, Foundations and Wilson Phonics, accessible to those students. And I said, oh my God, this is brilliant. You should actually be the developer for curriculum companies. There's a lot of things that you as teachers adapt, modify, accommodate for different students that aren't in the curriculum. You should be doing that, right? Write children's books, write education books, write a book about your perspective on education, you being a teacher. Start your own business in education. Be a music teacher. Oh, another thing. I forgot. Okay, so I was coaching a music teacher last school year on her classroom management, and I was telling her, I said, "Wow, why don't you start a YouTube channel where you're teaching kids music online, on YouTube, on IG, all the social medias, right?" I watch tons of YouTube, and I watch one influencer, a YouTube content creator, who basically critiques, singers, their vocals, critiques their vocal performance. And I said, why not do that, right? If you know how to play an instrument, teach people, have private lessons, start your own website, advertise, right? Do that, right? Teach virtually at an online school. I know someone who is an assistant principal of an online school, right? You don't have to leave the confines of your home. Teaching may be real difficult once you can mute the kids, right? Right? Remember during COVID? Oh, sorry, the C word. Yeah, remember during that time? You could just mute folks, right? So you could do that. Work for education reform, be a write education policy. I always say to my students, my undergrad, grad students, if you're going to do that, you have to teach for at least 10 years in different environments, in different grades, in different locations, right? I'm sorry, personal thing. I am tired of education policymakers who have no experience in education, do not know kids, do not know school system, right? So if you're going to do that, please have some experience under your belt. Be a lobbyist. Be a lobbyist for the right reasons, right? Start your own charter school. Also, do a teaching pod. Remember during the C time, the vid time, people would hire folks to be teachers of like kids who lived in the same block, same neighborhood, like a teaching pod. You can do that, right? I knew a woman one time who was the teacher of a celebrity, right? Why not, right? So if you know of some people, why not like drop a line, say, hey, I'm a teacher. I know you have kids. Can I be your kids teacher, right? And then move up with the kids, right? Every single grade, be a homeschool teacher, right? Start your own homeschool, start your teaching pod, open a daycare, develop your own curriculum, develop education resources, materials, develop your education AI website, right? My goodness, I just watched a couple of videos on YouTube about, yeah, all the different plants that are going up around America for AI machines. Mm. Okay, develop your own like magicschool.ai. Great website. It can be limiting, but develop your own resource website for educators. Develop education platforms like Reading A to Z, Learning A to Z. There's Newsella, tons of platforms out there that you can develop in technology. Work in education technology. That is a budding, growing field. Why not do it, right? So those are just some things you can do if you want to get out the classroom. That has to do with education. You can use your skill sets, but if you don't want to be in education at all, life is too short. Do something else. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with that. Okay, I hope you have a good day. Bye.